Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, or Tiger Tank 12, however you call me, I don't really care, and welcome back to World of Tanks. Today we are going to be taking a look at some of my vehicles in the garage, the current lines I'm working on, and we're going to be talking about some video ideas and just some general updates. Now I haven't done that in quite a while, and I thought it was about time. Now, I know it's Tuesday, the video was scheduled to be out on Monday, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do it in time. That means it's probably going to be the other two videos that I've planned for this week are just going to be put one day behind. So next video you can expect probably on Thursday and then Saturday. I'm going to see what I'm going to be covering. On Friday, I will try to get another map analysis. I did that about 2 weeks ago, and maybe I'm going to get another game where I can show some tactics, how I play some maps. And on Thursday, I'm going to try to see maybe Frontline. Frontline is coming out. The patch is going to be released, or I'm just going to be making a review of the next tier 10 vehicle that I had in my garage and I haven't really talked about yet. I think the last tier 10 I covered was the 57, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it the Sheridan? I'm not sure right now. I have to see. On Thursday, you'll see what the video is going to be about. But up until then, let's continue with this video today. So you guys probably know I've been playing this game for quite a while now, and I mean, I have played 33,581 games. And that has accumulated into quite a few vehicles in my garage that I've played. If we take a look at my service record and all the vehicles that I've played, you can see there is quite a bunch of them in my garage. I mean, if we go tier for tier, I think most of the vehicles I played were either American or Russian. American or Soviet are probably the two nations that I've played the most. And then close third is probably Germany, and then it's going to be some kind of mishmash of British and French. I'm not even sure. But still, I've enjoyed, let's say, about the 8 years, I've enjoyed the game quite a lot. Quite enough to be still sticking around. And yeah, to still be grinding some vehicles. Now, I've noticed over the last couple of years that quite a few people did drop off the game, and obviously with the new reward program, what was it, the new referential thing that they're planning where you can get people into the game if they use your code, and you play with them, you get rewards, they get rewards, and that's one of the way Wargaming want to try to get new players into the game. But I think it's kind of the wrong the wrong angle that they're taking, because I don't think that people have a problem getting to Wolf Tanks. They're really promoting this game all over the place. I see so many things, but maybe it's because I play this game so much. But I think the problem with World of Tanks is just that the lower tier games are really, really difficult. It's difficult to stick around. There are so many things that you might just dislike. May it be artillery, may it be people seal clubbing at lower tiers with very, very powerful premium light tanks. It may be everything, right? Performance may be bad, but I think they did work on that very nicely. Maybe just not enough game modes, too repetitive. There are so many reasons that people stop playing this game or don't really get into the game, and I think those should be the things that they should work on and not try to go with a referential program where people try to get other people into the game just so that they can get a bonus. So I think, yeah, I don't think that's going to be a very big success. If you haven't heard anything about it, just check out the link in the description below. I will put it in there and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a program where you can actually get a tier 8 premium tank that you can choose, as long as the player gets to a specific level or specific tier, but it doesn't really matter. So moving on, forget that. Let's focus on the vehicles I've unlocked, the vehicles I'm working on, the lines that I have enjoyed currently, and the lines that I'm planning for the future. So you can see the American Tech tree, nothing has changed here. I haven't played American Tank in a very long time. The last American Tank I played was the Scorpion, just because I haven't played it a lot. And other than that, I haven't really been playing a lot of American tanks. And I've been playing the M4043 for a mission, but other than that, haven't really laid my hands on the American tanks at the moment. That mainly has to do with the fact that I'm just not grinding any of them. I have them all unlocked except for one tech tree right there. You can see the T28 prototype, but we'll get to that eventually someday. Currently, I'm playing the Archem Waffenträger Borsig, and I'm trying to get the Waffenträger of Panzer 4. I have unlocked the Jagdtiger. There's probably going to be coming a video about the Jagdtiger someday soon. I mean, it's a legendary vehicle. The tank with the largest caliber gun on the German side, 128 millimeter cannon on a tank destroyer. I don't think that they had anything bigger. Very impressive vehicle, historically speaking, very interesting as well. But in the game, also very interesting tank. I think one of the most played tank destroyers with the Object 704. And yeah, absolute legendary tank. We'll get to that one eventually. Then the mouse, that is obviously on the line as well. You can see I have the Moistion, haven't played it that much. It does have a huge weak spot on top with the little cupola, but I still managed to make it work a little bit. Just played like 5 or 6 games in it. 10 games almost, like 9. You can see I'm not the best Moistion drive. It's too slow for me, man. I don't know who wants to subject themselves to that kind of torturous speed. Now the tech tree of the Soviet Union, it looks like I'm almost done with the Soviet Union as well. You can see the only thing that are missing at tier 10 is the Object 261, the Object 705A, and the T100 light tank. All the other vehicles have been unlocked. The Object 268 is the most recent tier 10 that I've added to my collection. The British tech tree hasn't gotten that much love either, but the Comet is currently in my garage. A super tank, I very much enjoy it. It's one of the old school tier 7 vehicles. I don't really know what I can say to it because it doesn't feel like it would make the list right now in the game at this point, because it has a 77 millimeter gun, where like all the other tier 7s have like 90 millimeter guns. But still, I love it. I've enjoyed it quite a lot. I haven't had the best games in it yet, but I do see why it's Quickie Baby's favorite tank. Definitely has a lot of potential. I'm looking forward to the Centurion Action 10. That is going to be a great tank as well. Now on the French tank line, you can see I'm working on the AMX 30B. Haven't really played a lot of the AMX 30 yet. I'm also working on the AMX M454 line. I do have the AMX 65T in my garage, but it is not as spectacular as I have hoped. Actually, I made a video about it. I don't think it's that good of a tank. I'm not really looking forward to playing it that much. I'm not even sure if I want to get the AMX M454. It's one of my least prioritized lines at the moment because I have so many tanks I'm currently working on. On the Czech tech tree, I'm working on the Skoda T50. That is a crazy tank. The tier 10 obviously is one of the fan favorites. Currently stuck on TVP VTU, 25,000 experience, but it is so different from the Skoda T50 I've heard. So I'm looking forward to the first non-French, non-American autoloader on the Czechoslovakian side. Now, I know a lot of people hate the Type 5. I dislike it personally as well. I have started grinding the OHO line or the Type 5 line still, so I'm on the OHO right now. I haven't really enjoyed it that much. The derp gun, it's just not really what I'm looking for. And I mean, I'm running the what was it? If I'm looking at it, the 10 millimeter, no, the 100 millimeter gun, and it's nothing too spectacular. It gets penetrated quite easily. Quite a lot of people are shooting heat at this vehicle, premium ammo, and I understand why. It's just I don't know why they added this tank line. It's just because they wanted to have more vehicles on the Japanese tech tree. It's horrible. I hate this tank line. The medium tanks at least are kind of interesting with the STB1 and the Type 61, like a super big Japanese Sherman. It looks so funny, but at least it's kind of original in the sense I really dislike the Japanese heavy tanks. Now, the Chinese tech tree, I'm working on the light tanks and I'm working on the heavy tanks. I do have the 110. I'm still missing the Top Gun. It kind of is weird because it has terrible gun depression, and its pike nose is so crazy that I kind of over angle it constantly. The pike nose is so prominent that, I mean, it's almost as if you have, I don't know, like a wall that is a triangle at the front. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm not a big fan of the 110 yet. The gun is not really what it is supposed to be, and thus so far the Chinese tech tree hasn't been really my cup of tea. To be fair, it's like a skimmed down Soviet tech tree, but I heard that the WC 111 and the 113 are quite interesting. Same goes for the WZ 132-1 that is still down on the line. Now the 53 TP is going to be the next Polish tank I'll be unlocking. Right now I'm at the 45 TP. I actually enjoy it quite a lot. At its first stage, when it was completely stock, it was terrible. But now with the upgraded engine, with the upgraded tracks, the new turret, and the 105mm gun that you get with this tank, it actually does seem to be much better. It fares a lot better in battle as well, and I've been enjoying it quite a lot since then. Now the Udas 03, it's new in my garage, completely new. I absolutely adore my STRV S1, and I haven't really played it enough, to be fair. I'm also working on the Emil 1. The Leo is a super awesome tank. I love it so much. And yeah, we're going to be seeing hopefully soon Kranwagen and the STRV 103B someday. I'm working on those. There's a lot of things I'm working on, but the closest I am right now to a next vehicle that I'll be unlocking very soon is the P44 Pantera. I'm working on a P43 Terra right now. It is very enjoyable to be played. 90mm gun. It's much better than the P43 Biz and the P43. That was just terrible. But I think the closest tank I'll be able to unlock very soon is the Object 705 with only about 9,000 experience missing from the pot. So that's pretty damn cool. So that basically wraps up all the vehicles I'm grinding right now, all the tech trees. There are a lot of nations. When I started playing this game, they had the Americans, the Germans, the Soviets, and that was it basically. It took them, I think, a half year until they added the Chinese tech tree or the British. I'm not sure which one came first, British, Chinese, or French. And then came the Swedish back down the line someday. No, the Japanese first, then the Swedish, then the Czechoslovakian, then the Japanese heavy tanks, then the Polish. No, then the Italian tech tree, and now we have the Polish tech tree. So quite a few nations that we counted together. That's 3, 6, 9, 11 nations have made it to World of Tanks. Now, when I started playing with 3 nations, that is quite a lot of tanks. 11 nations, that's I think about 400 tanks that they have in the game now with all the premiums. That is a lot of vehicles. So to finish this video off, not just with a lot of talking and no real gameplay, I thought we could actually jump into the Großtraktor Krupp, which is actually a tier 3, and where we can talk a little bit about one of the reasons why this game has some issues with losing new players. Now, I've talked to quite a few friends who were quite interested in this game when I started playing it back in the days. They thought it was interesting to look at, and I just hyped it really. I praised it really highly, and people were just kind of curious to see for themselves what it was about. And I was hoping that I would get some friends to play this game with me. It turned out that basically they lost interest very, very early on in the game. And one of the things that was the reason for the frustration with playing low tiers was that there were very experienced players playing low tiers and going on about totally destroying other vehicles. Basically, that's what I'm doing. So what you can see right here actually is there are a lot of new players. There are people that have no 1,000 games, less than 1,000. There are people with less than 10k. All of these players are new to the game. And people like me, now I don't really play a lot of, look at that. I don't play a lot of low tier games. Like the lowest I go is tier 6. I usually don't play below tier 6 because I'm afraid that I will just meet up against like very low skilled players and destroy their basic experience of this game. But I know that there are quite a few people who really enjoy these low tiers and only play them because it's easy to play against new players, and also because they enjoy some of the vehicles that are much more historically accurate, right? For example, the M3 Elite. There are some people who just want to play the M3 Elite. I'm not sure who would want to go through the M3 Elite like on purpose. It's one of the worst tanks I've ever played, but there are still people who are interested in playing historically accurate vehicles. For example, the Panzer IV. That is a fan favorite tank. But the thing is that you'll need low tier vehicles, and these low tier vehicles are just going to have a pretty damn bad day when they're going to be facing you. So one of the things that Wargaming probably have to do and implement is the protection for these new players that are coming into the game. And the only way I see them getting something into the game that can protect these new players from getting completely destroyed by very experienced older players is, in my opinion, skill-based matchmaking in the lower tiers. But the thing is, skill-based matchmaking with the little amount of players, or the very small numbers of players playing this game on some specific servers like North America, that is just going to be a bigger kind of problem. Now, I've not really played the Ghost Tractor before. I don't really know what kind of vehicle it is. I just played it, I think, once. It has 75mm gun, and at like tier 3 that is a pretty damn large caliber. But it doesn't seem to be one of the most heaviest armored vehicles. It is a very legendary vehicle, and they did gift us this tank a while back. I'm not sure when I picked it up, but I did get it I think a couple of months ago. I haven't really played it since, but you can just see, you know, I do have some of the experience that these players are lacking. But still, I'm not completely dominating these players at the same time, so at least it's not too crazy at the moment. But just imagine that people who have played this game for years and years are just doing this constantly, playing the lower tiers. I mean, it's their right to play the lower tiers. It's their right to play vehicles that they enjoy, and I think that is absolutely correct. But the problem is just that Wargaming, they have to figure something out. Maybe give these low tier players the ability to play against bots, some kind of PvE game mode. But the problem that Wargaming sees with PvE is probably that they're afraid that a lot of people will just drop out of the game. So the structures behind it are not very well built. The foundation for the new player is pretty damn horrible. That's one of the reasons why, to be fair, I can't really recommend this game to new players, because it's one of the games where you really have to dig in. And if you're easily frustrated, this is one of the worst games to start playing. I don't even know how it was when I started back in the days. I didn't really care. My very first tank that I was super proud of was the where is it? The M2 medium, the tier 3 with its 75mm howitzer gun. I remember that playing this tank fully upgraded on mines and getting stuck on a wall because I was getting ambushed by quite a few vehicles, and I was sitting there like this, and I just tried to derp them with the gun. That were actually quite nice memories, but when I started to learn how to use the tanks correctly, how to utilize cover correctly, that was really when it started to take off. So the question now is just, how will Wargaming figure it out to make it a fair experience for the new player, but at the same time not make the veterans feel guilty about playing their low tier tanks. Now, if we think about it, if we take a look at all the vehicles I have in my garage right now, I basically am not allowed to play all of these premium tanks that I have right here, because it's just too easy for me to go in there and wreak some havoc. Although I did super enjoy the MTLS 1G14, that was super fun to play. Same goes for the T7 combat car. It's just such a funny tank. Horrible penetration, but at the same time, it kind of is fun just to play them. And yeah, that's just the question. How are we going to be able to deal with that? As always, I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on it, on the topic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.